Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic, where this afternoon we have a game between Riverside and Capital, both teams looking to pick up their first win of the season as the Cougars come in at 0-3, while Riverside comes in at 0-2. Chris Kidd here with you from George Washington High School. Alongside me, our engineer today, Butch Mounts, here live on Video Productions, as we have got quite the swell of basketball action coming your way today, both here from George Washington High School and then from Chapmanville Regional High School later on today, as well as being on the adjacent channels here on Video Production starting in just a couple of hours. But this morning we get a big tip-off between these two clubs, both young, both trying to break out with their first victory here today as they both suffered losses last night. Riverside losing to George Washington 73-37, and Capital falling to Ashland, Kentucky in their first clash. Well, we're going to step aside for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about our first matchup here today from the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic as you are watching Capital and Riverside basketball right here live on Video Productions.
The Par-Mar Oil Company in 1967 has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Par-Mar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Par-Mar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Par-Mar store near you now, you will soon. Par-Mar convenience stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
You've been seriously injured. Now it's time to pick a lawyer.
You pick one with big verdicts and settlements?
We've successfully handled many million-dollar cases.
How about the recommendation of a friend?
We probably help somebody in your neighborhood.
How about a firm with lots of resources?
You can have it all.
We're Farmer Klein and Campbell.
Well-known and very effective.
When you call us about your injury, you'll know you've made the right decision.
Farmer Klein and Campbell is the way to go. Call 346-5990.
To us, justice is not just a word. It's why we fight. Warner Law Offices. When you need justice.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
FCA has incredible impact on coaches, the teams, the players, and the community as well.
It's changed our lives. It's changed mine as a husband, as a father, and as a coach.
It does make an impact on our lives.
FCA has become a full circle in our lives.
People from all different kinds of backgrounds.
If all we're going to be is a coach that happens to be a Christian, I think it's more important to be a Christian that happens to be a coach.
Welcome back, everybody. Chris Kidd here with you, alongside me, Butch Mounts, as we are getting set for the first game here today from the Par-Mar Tip-Off Kick in Riverside at 0-2, the Capital Cougars at 0-3, as we are getting set now for the national anthem. So let's listen in. We will get set for the introductions of both clubs. So let's listen in to the starting lineups.
And that must be the starting lineup for today's contest. Beginning with today's visiting team, Cougars of Capital High School. And guarding 6'2" senior number 21, Harrington Hill. Coach Matt Green and the rest of the Capital High School Cougars. Coming at number 3 at guard, 5'10".
Stay here, Raven.
Freshman, number 3, Demashi Clark. Demashi's all right, though. He's all right. He's good. All right, and now for today's home team, Warriors of Riverside High School. At center, at 6'2", senior number 32, Alex Hess. At forward, a 6'1", senior number 30, Quinton DeMillo. At guard, a 5'11", senior number 5, Javante Ilse. At guard, a 6' junior, number 3, Josh Arthur. And then forward, a 6'4" senior, number 2, Jeremiah Mason.
Those are your starting lineups for Riverside and Capital as we are getting set to action. Again, Riverside coached by Taylor Woods, Capital coached by Matt Green. And if the name sounds familiar in this area, it's because it should. He is the son of George Washington legendary coach Rick Green, as they've gone against each other several times as well. Friendly rivalry between father and son in this regard, as they also get a chance to go up against each other here in this tournament. As again, both these teams trying to get their first win of the season. Riverside fallen to St. Albans 70-38, and then last night to GW 73-37. They were 2-20 last year and have 3 straight losing seasons to the Warriors. They've only had 2 winning seasons since 2006. As Cougars, we'll get to them in a moment. Very young team this year, as Capital with 7 sophomores and a freshman on their roster, as Capital controls the tip, going left to right across your computer screen and television screen here in the first quarter. As they kick it over right side for Poole, he'll dribble into the paint. Nice dish off down low and a foul from behind as Hess came over to try and contest and was guilty of grabbing the back of number 31 that time, DeMarquise Brooks, and that'll send Brooks to the line here to shoot 2. Brooks, one of the few upperclassmen on this team. And he had 14 against Ashland, Kentucky in that loss earlier this season. Hits on the first attempt. Then he had 7 against Shady Springs, and he had 17 last night in the loss against Ashland. So he's really picking things up as the season moves along here for Capital. That second free throw up, this one off the mark, no good. Rebounded underneath by Riverside, knocked out of bounds as Mason was able to get the loose ball. And now Capital will go full court pressure here, just 15 seconds into the contest. Mason looking for help and tries to get it in, knocked away. Right in front of the official that time as Garrett Struck got his hand on the ball. So Mason will trigger it in yet again with Brooks and his long arms right in front of him. Mason looking, able to find Elsie. Elsie, leading scorer on this Riverside club, goes down to the ground, and a quick timeout called by Coach Woods as he didn't like where Elsie was at and the condition he was in that spot, trying to avoid the turnover. As well stay here with a 30-second timeout, just 20 seconds into the contest. But again, this Capital team coming in, they lost to Ashland, Kentucky, 71-50. Then lost to Shady Spring, who's looking to be a powerhouse in Class AA this year, 71-60. That was a game that was tight for a while, but Shady Spring used a 19-2 run between the third and fourth quarter to pull away from Capital and preserve the win. And then last night, the loss to Ashland, Kentucky. Capital came into the year ranked number 7 in Class AAA, probably going to change here soon. But Capital also lost 9 seniors off of last year's club, just a devastating senior class loss for them. And they also lost Carry-On Martin and KJ Taylor, who didn't come out for the team this year. Martin hurt his shoulder near the end of football season and needs to rehab it before he enrolls to play football at Marshall next year. So that put Capital at an even bigger disadvantage coming into the year as Mason, step-back jumper from the right elbow, gets Riverside on the board and gives them an early 2-1 lead. Nice baseline drive by Poole, lost control of it, and now a double dribble called. And now it looks like the official underneath going to correct it, as it looked like the ball was jarred loose from poor initially, and now they do end up changing the call. As it will stay with Capital. They'll inbound from underneath their own basket. Carrington Hill gets it in quickly, swing it around. Looked like an open look there for a moment for Struck, but passed up on it. Spinning into the paint, it's Clark. Now gets it back out. Losing it off his foot this time is Struck and into the hands of Mason. So a chance for the Warriors here to try and extend their lead 2-1 in the first minute of the contest. Out front, Elsie. Nice dribble drive, gets in the paint, but he ends up charging. Nice job on the inside that time by Capital, holding their ground, and Elsie picks up an early foul. So we see here on our replay again, Elsie with that quick first step. Again, nice job getting to the inside, and then right there at the end, a little bit of movement on that charge attempt, but getting the call anyway as it'll go this way for Capital. Now going to the ground is Clark, and he's going to be called for a travel. It looked like he was a little shaken up after that collision. As Riverside will inbound from the near side here, leading it 2-1. Struggling to get it in here in front of Brooks again. Brooks caused a lot of disruption with those long arms and that tall frame right in front of the inbounder as Hess gets it out to Mason. Mason at the top of the key. Struck almost got his hands on it. Kicks it back out top as Riverside will reset here with DeMello. DeMello over right side. Fighting his way into the lane. Tough running shot off the mark that time. No good for Riverside as Osborne couldn't get it to go, and back the other way. Struck going coast to coast, able to lay it in on the right side, and that gives Capital the lead back at 3-2. Pass deflected and stolen away by Capital. Now stolen back by Riverside as unable to handle it was Brooks. Now Mason drives in on the right side. Bodies crash to the ground. Layup no good and rebounded by Poor. Poor brings it up with a 3-2 lead for the Cougars. Over to Brooks. Now kicks across court. Three on the way. No good off the mark. Knocked out of bounds. There's a good look that time for Clark, but unable to knock it down. But Capital will maintain possession here as Carrington Hill hasn't got a field goal attempt up yet as he inbounds it to Struck, gets an open look off the mark, but it goes right into the hands of Brooks. He can't hit the putback. There's Hill, though, and he puts it back up and in on the third try. And Carrington Hill averaged 9.8 points per game last year for Capital. Is actually the second leading scorer with that. Capital didn't have anyone but one player that averaged over 10 points per game last year, and that was 10.3 points, as they had a lot of balanced scoring on a team that made it to the state semifinals where they lost to Martinsburg 60-57 a year ago. But Hill now being asked to be more of the team leader this year as he's the returning leading scorer. Hill had 16 against Ashland, Kentucky with 3 threes, had 10 against Shady Spring, and then had a big game last night with 20 points in the loss to Ashland. Riverside looking to get it in here, trailing at 3-2. They'll inbound it to Elsie. Elsie brings it up the center. Nice moves on Struck. Spins into the paint. Struck got his hands on it, knocked it away. Leak out up ahead to Clark. Clark in on the right side. Layup spins around and falls home. And now Capital out to a 7-2 lead here with 5:13 to go in the first quarter. In full court pressure still being applied by the Cougars. And 5-second call. Again, Brooks very disruptive on the low block, as we see here on our instant replay. Great job by Brooks getting that up ahead to Clark. It's giving chase, but getting there late was Mason, unable to contest. And a 5-point lead for Capitals. They're on a 6-0 run. They get it over to Brooks, dribbles into the center. A lot of contact as 3 men crash to the ground, and Brooks draws the foul. So they're going to get a push this time. They're going to get Jeremiah Mason on the foul, as that's team foul number 3 against Riverside, as we see the drive again here by Brooks getting into the paint. And you see all the help defenders trying to get over and prevent Brooks from getting a clean look, but Brooks knocks down the first free throw. Now 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 2 points for him. Brooks is 6'4" junior. Said had 17 last night in the loss to Ashland. Second free throw up and good. So now a 9-2 lead in favor of Capital, and this has been the way things have gone for Riverside thus far this season, getting out the slow starts and unable to keep up in these first 2 contests. They go down low to Hess. Hess up fakes, throws up a tough shot as he hits the deck. Nothing called as here comes Capital back the other way. Brooks into the center. Mason gets his hands on it and intercepts it. Pass up ahead to Elsie, and he's wide open. Easy layup for Javante Elsie. And Elsie, a two-sport star, starred in football as well for Riverside. Had 14 against St. Albans, including 3 assists, but had 9 turnovers. As Poor able to knock down a jumper. He's got 2 points now for the game and lead back up to 7. He's dribbling into the center, kicks it out. Wide open 3 from the left side. Off the mark, no good. Fighting for the rebound is DeMello after the miss, but can't come up with it. Here comes the Cougars back the other way. Poor fakes on a deep 3. Struck trying to get position down low. Now moves to the other side. Dribble drive into the paint. Floater up, no good. Rebounded though. Nice reverse to the left side that time. Layup good for Clark. As the freshman guard is off to a nice start. 4 points now, and Capital's lead has swelled to 9. 3:45 to go in the first quarter. After Riverside led 2-1, it's been all Capital since then, a 12-2 run. Good job by Elsie sneaking into the paint and able to get the floater to go. And a timeout called here to try and get some substitutions into the game. We've got a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep things here as you see Clark fighting for the loose ball on our replay on Video Productions. And a great reversal by Clark to get the bucket. It's actually an official's timeout that we had there and allowed some of the substitutions to take place. As you see there, the nice steal by Mason here on our instant replay up ahead as Elsie got behind the defense and able to get his first 2 of the game. He's now got 4 in the contest. Elsie had 7 last night in the loss to George Washington. They get it over to Poor. Poor at the left elbow and called for a travel. That'll give it back over to Riverside here, trailing 13-6, trying to mount a little rally here after trailing by 9. Substitution for Riverside. As Austin Giovini will check into the game. He'll inbound from underneath his own basket, gets it in. Nice job by Arthur to break free. Looks underneath, high pass to DeMello, gets away. Giovini saves it. Back out front. They get it to Elsie. Elsie will set up the offense here, gets a screen up top. Arthur now on the right wing, steps back, contested 3, air ball being fought for. Nice save by DeMello, able to tap it back into play. Back out front as Riverside sets it up. Elsie at the top of the key. Now we'll retreat a little, try and get some space. Drives in on the right side, tied up, and possession error will stay with Riverside. 2:51 to go here in the first quarter. We are here for the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic from George Washington High School, and we've got another game coming up following this game with GW taking on Ashland, Kentucky. So stay tuned for more high school basketball action coming your way. And Javante Elsie heating up here in the first quarter. A step-back 3. He's got 7 points here in the first and a 13-9 lead for Capital. Out front, Poor. Hands it off, top of the key. Hill drives in. Tough contested shot was blocked. Rebound underneath, kick back out. Poor, open 3 from the wing. Off the back iron, no good. And now a whistle and a foul underneath. And this is going to go against Capital. As Sean James tried to get some position and ended up committing the push in the back and the foul. That is the first team foul against Capital, first against James. Still full court pressure by the Cougars as they inbound it and deflected away by Brooks. It'll stay with Riverside as they'll inbound from right in front of their own bench. So they get it into Elsie, and now he'll work his way up the floor here. Now almost picked and is picked from behind. Ball loose on the floor. Elsie gets it, trying to call time, and is able to get the timeout. And good defensive play that time by Wicker, who was able to poke it away. And Riverside has to burn a timeout with 2:15 to go in the first quarter. We'll see if it's a full or a 30. It'll stay here with a 30-second timeout. So both teams nearly running out of their 30-second timeouts here in the first 6 minutes of play. But it's been a back-and-forth affair thus far. Again, both teams going on their own little runs, and now it's been Riverside's turn to try and climb back into this game. Capital, we know their success, 2 state titles as a school. They were 24-6 last year. They've had 6 straight winning seasons. and 3 of their last 4 winning seasons were 23 or more wins. So they've had an impressive mark all the way through, have the Capital Cougars, but as we said, a very young ball club this year with 7 sophomores and a freshman that are seeing some significant playing time. Really, Brooks and Hill, along with Wicker, really some of your only big upperclassmen this year for the Cougars, as there's a steal from behind taken away by Capital. It was James who committed the foul a moment ago, able to come up with it. Now dangerous pass inside, knocked away, kicked around, and last touched out of bounds by Riverside. So it'll stay with Capital with exactly 2 minutes to go in the opening period. They'll get it in, back out front. Hill being guarded by DeMello, looks inside. Brooks, turnaround jumper in the paint, too strong. Brooks fights for his own rebound, goes back up, and this time DeMarquise Brooks able to finish. He's got 5 points now, his first field goal of the game. They inbound it to Elsie. Elsie takes off up the right side, looks cross court, pass tipped, but into the hands of a Warrior, and now stolen on the way in, as unable to control it was Osborne. Now they get it over into the right corner. Hill looks inside on the trailer. Nice dish off underneath for Brooks, who's open for the easy 2. Nice pass that time by James, able to find Brooks on the right block as the lead has swelled back up to 8. Full court pressure continues here as they lob it up ahead to Mason on the left wing. Mason waiting for Elsie. Now back out to Mason as we close in on the final minute of the first quarter. Elsie will give it off, top of the key, wide open 3. No one coming out to contest. Off the back iron, no good that time for Arthur. And rebound comes down to the Cougars. Outlet pass, almost stolen. Now a chance here. Nice drive underneath, up and under attempt, no good. As Wicker tried the reverse layup but couldn't get it to go. Riverside up ahead, and Elsie not looking for the pass that time from Arthur. Goes out of bounds, and it'll go back over to Capital. And that was a big part of the problem for Riverside in their first game against St. Albans. They had 25 turnovers in that loss to the Red Dragons as they fell 70-38. So thus far, Riverside's fallen by 32 and then by 36 last night to George Washington. It's out front with it. Wicker, top of the key for Poor. See if Capital tries to run it down here for the final shot. Right now they'd have possession to start the second quarter as well. Top of the key. Driving in hard right side. Nice lane, and able to finish is James as he was able to find the crease and take it all the way in, and it's now the largest lead of the game for Capital at 19-9. 7 seconds to go in the first. Elsie able to get by the defender, drives all the way in, kicks it off for DeMello, gets free, count it, and the foul for Quentin DeMello, his first bucket of the game. And a chance to close this to 7 at the end of the first quarter. At that time, Elsie did a great job collapsing the defense. You saw there on our instant replay, 2 defenders shaded over to him once he got in the paint. And good vision find DeMello, who's able to convert on the 3-point opportunity. They inbound it quickly. He from half court by Wicker almost goes as he banked it off the side of the rim, but that will bring us to the end of the first quarter with Capital leading Riverside 19-12. We'll be back after this as you're watching the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic with us right here live on Video Productions.
Started as the Par-Mar Oil Company in 1967, has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Par-Mar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Par-Mar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Par-Mar store near you now, you will soon. Par-Mar Convenience Stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
You've been seriously injured. Now it's time to pick a lawyer.
You pick one with big verdicts and settlements?
We've successfully handled many million-dollar cases.
How about the recommendation of a friend?
We probably help somebody in your neighborhood.
How about a firm with lots of resources?
You can have it all.
We're Farmer Klein & Campbell.
Well-known and very effective.
When you call us about your injury, you'll know you've made the right decision.
Farmer Klein & Campbell is the way to go. Call 346-5990.
Start of quarter number 2 here from the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic. Chris Kidd here with you. Alongside me, Butch Mounts, our engineer, for game number 1 of 2 this afternoon from George Washington High School. Again, coming up next, we have George Washington, undefeated and ranked number 3 in Class AAA, taking on Ashland, the Tomcats out of Kentucky, who come in undefeated as well. It's going to be an impressive game coming up here in game 2, so don't go anywhere. And then we've got games from Chapmanville, West Virginia tonight in the Phenom Country Roads Classic. Again, that'll be streamed by Robbie Mounts down in Chapmanville early on, and I'll be back down there with you later on this late afternoon as a travel to start quarter number 2. Gives the ball back over to Riverside. But I'll be there to help broadcast Man versus Nitro. Then after that, it'll be Greater Beckley taking on Winton Woods. And then on our nightcap, Titanic matchup between the two-time defending West Virginia state champions, the Chapmanville Tigers, going up against Miller, Virginia, a team that has been very impressive in that Phenom Classic tournament thus far. Mason, nice position down low, able to work his way down to the right block and put it in on the right side for his 4th point. It's Riverside inches closer, trailing it by 5 now after trailing by as much as 10. Over on the right side, they give it off. Hill drives in, good look underneath, up fake, going up, can't convert, tip back up and in. Nice job by James that time on the boards, able to put it back up and in. 21-14 edge now for Capital. 7 minutes to go before halftime. Out front with it, driving in on the right side, and once again Mason able to find that little crease on that side. Same play, same result. The lead back down to 5. So we get a whistle out front, and we get a push, it appears, against Riverside. That's going to go against Isaiah Osborne, the 6'1 senior. That'll be team foul number 4 now against Riverside, 2 against Capital. They get it in. Capital working around as Juju Kinney into the game for Capital now. Ball loose underneath. Bland fighting for it, still loose, and we get a whistle and a travel underneath. And that'll give the ball back over to the Warriors, trying to cut this down to a 1-possession game. Now Brooks back into the game. Bland will go to the bench. Again, Brooks had a big first quarter with 7 points. As Elsie able to break it. Elsie had 7 points of his own in the first quarter. Almost slipped there. Gets it over left side. 3 on the way for Osborne. No good. Rebound comes down long to Kinney. Kinney up the right side. He'll pull up for 3 in transition. No good. Rebound knocked around. There's Brooks again for another board. They get it out front. 3 on the way, and count it this time for Wicker. Wicker's first points of the game. He had 10 against Ashland, 14 against Shady Spring, and 8 against Ashland in the first 3 games this year, and he gets his first basket here this afternoon. Elsie looks to answer, but misses off the front iron, rebounded by Kinney. Kinney looks up ahead, pass deflected by Elsie, but over to Capital in right corner. 3 on the way, no good, as Wicker tried to bend his way to make that fall, and now a foul on the rebound. It's going to go against Brooks as he came in and caught a piece of Mason as he was flying by. So now DeMello will, or excuse me, not DeMello, but instead new substitution for Capital coming into the game here, as James will go to the bench for a little breather. Now we get a whistle underneath and a foul on Brooks on the inbound, and that's a big call. Or actually, no, they're going to get that on Kinney instead. Boy, that would have been 2 on Brooks. That would have been a big game changer on the inside. Had Riverside been able to get the second foul on Brooks, who's been very disruptive on both ends. Dangerous pass down the floor, but Elsie able to get it. Drives in, kicks it high, pass, and over the head of everybody into the stands and out of bounds. So it'll go back over now to Capital, leading it 24-16. Kinney running the point right now. Get it into Brooks. Brooks out beyond the three-point arc. Drives in hard into the middle. It'll contact with Mason, nothing there, but there's Brooks, relentless on the boards, able to get another offensive rebound, and the lead back up to 10 for Capital. DeMello into the right corner, pass juggled, shot on the way, blocked, taken away as Hill got out and was able to swat that three-point attempt away from Ford. Now out front is Wicker. Wicker over to Brooks, showing the range now, and Brooks does it all. He hits a 3. Again, I was thinking maybe he's not that much of an outside threat, but right there, the 6'4 junior able to connect from downtown, and he's got 12 points now as Kinney commits the foul in the backcourt. And that'll be number 2 on him. So 5 team fouls now against the Cougars, 4 against Riverside. Just a shade under 5 minutes to go in the first half. As you see it again here with Brooks. Again, they have to honor his driving ability after what he's done the last couple of times down the floor, and this time he just steps back and buries a 3. So Brooks has been doing it all here in the first half for the Capital Cougars. They get it to Mason at the free throw line. Largest lead of the game for Capital at 29-16. Elsie drives in. Tough jumper as he gets it to bank in on the runner for his 9th point. Javante Elsie, the senior, having a nice first half. Wicker, though, nice up and under, can't finish. Gets it back. Fired around the perimeter, trying to find an open look. Wicker fakes, gets into the paint, gets a wide open runner, and gets it to fall on the way in. Wicker now with 5 points. 31-18 in favor of Capital, nearly midway through the first half, or second quarter rather. As Elsie into the center, drives in a couple Capital defenders, can't draw the foul. Now here comes Capital with an opportunity. Hill, dish off on the right side, layup attempt, rolls off, no good. Rebounded by Hill, throws it out, and it hits the scorer's table. And that's the second errant pass we've seen in a row. One from Elsie, now one from Hill. That was air-mailed out of bounds as Poor will check back in. Kenny will go to the bench with his second foul. Again, both teams coming in winless thus far. Riverside at 0-2, Capital at 0-3, trying to pick up their first wins of the year. Turnover as Brooks comes up with it over to Poor, drives in, and Poor able to finish at the rack. He's got 4 points, and he had 10 last night. And the loss against Ashland did the sophomore. As Elsie kicks it out, wide open look from the left side, off the mark, no good. There's DeMello on the rebound. His putback rolls in and out, and now we get a whistle and a tie-up, and the possessioner will stay with Riverside. As Ford got a wide open look from the left corner, but it wouldn't fall. Then DeMello's putback rolled around and popped out. They inbound it to DeMello. Goes down low off the hands of Mason, but gets it back. Trying to back in on Brooks. Goes up strong, and that one pops out. So unlucky trip that time by the Warriors. Had 3 good looks, and all 3 of them just popped in and out on them. It's almost a steal by Mason, but out of bounds. It'll stay with Capital. They lead at 33-18 with 3:19 to go before halftime.
Making into the contest for the Riverside Warriors with Austin
Giovini checks back in for Riverside. They get it into the backcourt for Wicker as he'll bring it up against Elsie. Now out to Brooks. Poor. We got a whistle, and it's going to be an illegal screen here. Looks like against Brooks. And it will be, so that'll be number 2 on him. So we'll see what Capital elects to do here, and it does look like Coach Green's going to take him out here with 3:08 left in the half, as James will check in for him. A good move by Coach Green. And now cross-court pass, going to have to be saved. Mason tries to get it back to a Warrior, but finds Poor instead. He'll drive in the center. Floater no good. Rebound by James, tips it out. And stepping on the sideline, that'll be a turnover for Capital. This thing's getting a little sloppy here in the middle stages of the second quarter on both ends. But it's still Capital with a 15-point lead as we head towards halftime here in the final 2:55. DeMello up the right side. Gets a little space into the center. Nice spin move to the right side, and a good finish that time by Josh Arthur. And Arthur's high point total this year was 8 against St. Albans, and gets his first bucket here today. Out for Hill, and Hill called for the traveling. And Carrington Hill having a very quiet afternoon thus far. As we mentioned, he scored in double figures in each game. Had that big 20-point game last night against Ashland, but just hasn't been able to get anything going on the offensive end today. Really hasn't attempted, but I think 2 shots on the offensive end, as Riverside really trying to limit him, and instead it's been Brooks that has done the damage for the Cougars thus far. They get it into Elsie. He'll run it up the right side. Elsie guarded by Poor, spins inside. Tough turnaround jumper, short off the front iron. Rebound taken away by Capital as James crossed the timeline over to Poor. Now inside. Oh, good look, but deflected away. And there's Hill coming in off the deflection, and he finishes with the left hand for his 4th point. lead now back to 15, 35-20. Press breaker as Elsie, nice behind the back dribble, gets inside, dumps it off for DeMello, goes up a little too far inside as he couldn't get it off from under the rim. And there's Elsie, though, with the putback as he's into double figures now with 11 points. 35-22, Capital with the lead underneath, ball knocked away, controlled as it gets over to Struck, and we get a whistle and a travel on Struck. And Struck thought maybe he had an M1 opportunity there with Giovini flying over the top of him. Struck thought he'd put the ball on the ground. We'll see here on our replay. Right there's the dribble, and that's a close call. And Struck has it go against him and wipes away 2 points. So a chance here for Riverside to close into the deficit. They get it over into the left corner, pass into the center. Grabbed by DeMello, nice dish off underneath, and there's Giovini there for his first 2 points of the game. So Riverside trying to mount a little rally here before halftime. Final 90 seconds of the second quarter, 35-24 Capital. Hill out front. That's going to draw a timeout from Coach Matt Green. So it's a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep things here. And we'll take a look here as this game help brought to you by Gateway Mortgage Group with Christopher Eller, your area manager. They can be found at 1202 Virginia Street on the first floor, Charleston, West Virginia, 25301, or you can call at 304-400-9711. Again, that's Gateway Mortgage Group with Christopher Eller. So we go back to action here after the 30-second timeout. As you see down on the near side, GW head coach Rick Green coming out, watching a little of his son's team, seeing how things are going for them here today. Matt Green has had a successful run thus far here at Capital. As we said, though, very young ball club for this Cougar team this year, losing 9 seniors as well as Carrion Martin and KJ Taylor, so a huge rebuilding year for Capital, but right now looking very, very strong, and a team that I think is going to get a lot stronger as this year goes on, as Coach Green has proven himself to be a top-tier coach in Class AAA, and right now his club leading it by 11. Closing in on the final 60 seconds of the first half. Hill on the right side, gets it back out front. It's Poor, waiting on it here. Capital being very deliberate here in this final set. 50 seconds to go before halftime. Looks like Capital very content to just run this down and take the final shot of the half, and Riverside appears to be okay with obliging them. So with 40 seconds left, we can talk about the weather while this runs down. And now Riverside will come out and try and spring a trap. And you see the Riverside bench trying to implore their defenders to try and come up with a turnover here and get a stop. They've gotten a little momentum back here just before halftime, and now a travel called. And Poor can't believe it. He's still looking down at his feet wondering, did they move or not? But the turnover will give it back to Riverside with 20 seconds left here in the first half. Mason struggling to get it in almost with a 5-second call, but gets it into Elsie in the backcourt. Elsie working up on Wicker, and a foul committed as Wicker was contesting him and riding him all the way up the floor, and that's a big foul because that might be number 7, and it is. So that puts Elsie at the free throw line and a chance to get this back under double digits. Elsie's first free throw attempts of the day, only the second free throw shot by Riverside here in the first half as it's up and Elsie connects. And not a whole lot of free throws in general here in the first half, only 4 for Capital, and all 4 of those came by DeMarquise Brooks. That's Elsie's second free throw on the way, and he connects. So it was 35-20, and now a little 6-0 spurt by Riverside has gotten them back to within 9. 10 seconds to go before halftime. Wicker over to the right side. Back to the center, now dumps it off for Hill with 3 seconds. Hill dribbles in, shoves off to James, out to Poor, 3 at the horn, no good. As that brings us to the half. Great ball movement by Capital there on the final possession. But the 3 no good by Poor to close out the half as Riverside inches their way back closer, trailing it only by 9 now at intermission. Well, Butch and I are going to step aside for a break as we take a look here at the final possession of the half, as that layup no good, but the putback by Brooks there, and we'll have more action here from the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic right after this, as you are watching here live from GW High School on Video Productions.
If you've been in an accident, don't assume the insurance company will take care of you. Don't assume the medical bills will be paid. Don't assume anything. There's too much at stake. Accidents happen in an instant, but the injuries may last a lifetime. So hire the law firm with a history of results. Call us today. Warner Law Offices, when you need justice.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
What started as the Par-Mar Oil Company in 1967 has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Par-Mar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Par-Mar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Par-Mar store near you now, you will soon. Par-Mar convenience stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
Did you know when you send or receive a text message, you take your eyes off the road for 5 seconds? At 55 miles per hour, that's like driving more than the length of a football field blindfolded. As a result, thousands of people die every year in crashes related to distracted driving. That's why we're cracking down on people who text or use their smartphones while driving. We would rather you cross the goal line alive. Law enforcement officers write tickets to save lives. Don't text and drive.
You've been seriously injured. Now it's time to pick a lawyer.
Do you pick one with big verdicts and settlements?
We've successfully handled many million-dollar cases.
How about the recommendation of a friend?
We probably help somebody in your neighborhood.
How about a firm with lots of resources?
You can have it all.
We're Farmer Klein and Campbell.
Well known and very effective.
When you call us about your injury, you'll know you've made the right decision.
Farmer Klein and Campbell is the way to go. Call 346.
Welcome back, everyone, here to the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic. Chris Kidd here with you, with Butch Mounts, our engineer, as Capital leading Riverside 35-26 here at intermission. And again, it's a back-and-forth affair throughout most of it, as Riverside grabbed a small early lead, but then Capital took control of the game, had the lead build up as large as 15 in the first half. But Riverside's been very game here this afternoon, as they've not gone away with the help of Javante Elsie. He's put together a fine first half with 13 points. And then you've had Jeremiah Mason, who's done a good job on the boards and had 6 points of his own, as Riverside's putting together some tough defense and really aided whenever Brooks went to the bench as well. With that second foul, Capital held that 15-point lead whenever he picked it up, and Riverside was able to attack a little bit more on the interior once he was out of the ball game. And now Capital goes in intermission with a sizable lead and with no real foul trouble. Again, you only have Juju Kinney with 2 fouls and Brooks with 2 fouls, and nothing that seems severe for Riverside, only 4 players with 1 foul each. Again, pretty clean first half from the foul end as far as things go. But again, make sure you stay tuned with us. Following this game, as approximately 20 minutes after the conclusion of it, we'll have George Washington taking on Ashland, Kentucky, in a matchup between 2 undefeated teams who both won here last night, as well as GW was able to knock off Riverside, and Capital fell to Ashland in that game. And it's a GW team that had a wild win on Tuesday night here against South Charleston. That was a game where South Charleston led it pretty much the entire way. And then right at the end, GW able to steal it. And if you weren't with us, make sure you go back and check out about the final 3 minutes of that game on Tuesday night. I said it at the time that in 15 years of broadcasting, I've never seen an ending like that in my life. Again, South Charleston trailed it or led it by 3. Then Pinkett hit a 3 from the left side to tie it. I believe GW thought that they were still down in the game, and they fouled immediately on Sutton, to put him at the line with about 20 seconds to go. Sutton hit both free throws. Then with about 4 seconds left, Gus Eddy hit a driving layup to tie the game at 59. South Charleston called timeout, set up a play, threw it to half court, then threw it to Sutton, who was cutting to the basket and got hammered on the way in with 0.4 of a second on the clock. So 2 free throws for him. You make one, it's over. Sutton hits the first. Game's over, you figure, and then Sutton turned to the GW cheering section, who they have been kind of going back and forth all night. Nothing malicious, just all in good fun. But he didn't make the throat slash motion with the thumb. He did it with the 4 fingers as if to say this is over. But unfortunately, with the way that rules have changed since a lot of pro players had done that and they didn't like the gesture anymore, a lot of colleges, high school teams, and so on have adopted that philosophy, and I think for the better. But you make that motion towards the throat, it's going to be a technical every time. And Sutton, what was even more damaging probably in the moment was that was his 5th foul. So he had to leave the game, and South Charleston had to bring a player in off the bench, shoot the second free throw for Sutton. He misses. Pinkett for GW goes down to the other end to shoot his 2 technicals. He hits both his technicals, and GW wins the game 61-60. So, again, you'll want to go back and check out the final 2 to 3 minutes of that broadcast here on Video Productions just to see how wild and crazy that was. But GW able to pick up that win over their rivals, the South Charleston Black Eagles, and to keep themselves undefeated and ranked number 3 in Class AAA on the year. And Ashland, Kentucky coming in. They've been a strong program in Kentucky for quite a while. They met last year as well, but it was GW picking up the win 63-49. And as we said, we'll have more games from Chapmanville, West Virginia. Those games are also streaming live adjacent here on Video Productions right now, at 2:30 whenever they get started. So about an hour from now, Robbie Mounts will be there for that. And then I'll be back down there following the George Washington Ashland game, as we'll have announcing for Man versus Nitro with me and Nathan Bush. Then I'll be on the call with you for Greater Beckley Christian and Winton Woods, Ohio, following that game. And then the nightcap tonight, the big Titanic matchup between the 2-time defending Class AA champions in West Virginia, the Chapmanville Tigers, going up against the Miller, Virginia Mavericks in what should be a very big, a very fun game, as Miller, Virginia was able to knock off Beckley Prep yesterday, 57-51. Chapmanville was able to defeat International Sports Academy 66-57, a game that Chapmanville trailed by 9 in the first quarter and stormed back to run away late and defeat ISA in what was a very fun broadcast last night. But right here so far today, we've got Riverside with a 35-26 lead, or trailing Capital 35-26 at the half. We'll be back after this break, and it'll be time for the start of quarter number 3 here from George Washington High School, as you are watching the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic with us right here on Video Productions.
The Par-Mar Oil Company in 1967 has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Par-Mar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Par-Mar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Par-Mar store near you now, you will soon. Par-Mar convenience stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
You've been seriously injured. Now it's time to pick a lawyer.
You pick one with big verdicts and settlements?
We've successfully handled many million-dollar cases.
How about the recommendation of a friend?
We probably help somebody in your neighborhood.
How about a firm with lots of resources?
You can have it all.
We're Farmer Klein and Campbell.
Well known and very effective.
When you call us about your injury, you'll know you've made the right decision.
Farmer Klein and Campbell is the way to go. Call 346-5990.
To us, justice is not just a word. It's why we fight. Warner Law Offices. When you need justice.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
FCA has incredible impact on coaches, the teams, the players, and the community as well.
It's changed our lives. It's changed mine as a husband, as a father, and as a coach.
It does make an impact on our lives.
FCA has become a full circle in our lives.
People from all different kinds of backgrounds.
If all we're going to be is a coach that happens to be a Christian, I think it's more important to be a Christian that happens to be a coach.
(35-26), Capital leading Riverside as we get set to go back to action here in the start of the third quarter from the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic. Chris Kidd with you, with Butch Mounts, our engineer for today's contest. There's a young kid here from GW just hit a half-court shot, I believe, at the end of halftime. That's what all the commotion and cheering was about right as we were coming back. And you know what? He milked it, too, as he walked off the court. And if you know what, that's me. Heck, if I had a running layup at this point in my basketball career, I'm going to preen and prance like I just did something special. Let's see if we can catch it here on our replay. Yeah, here it is. And he shot it behind his head. Oh, wow. Oh, that was great. Great job by our cameraman as well, able to capture that. And Butch be able to get the replay here for us. That was awesome. Again, that's the shot of the day in what's going to be a long day here on Video Productions. But that was fun to watch. So now we go back to action, 35-26. As Capital with the ball to start third quarter. Carrington Hill misses on the 3 attempt. Taken back by Capital, and now cross-court pass over and back, and that'll give it back over to Riverside here as the clock didn't get started in time, and now they're going to have to try and run a few seconds off. So they run it down to about 7:53. It'll be Riverside ball. Again, they trailed it at 35-20 when Brooks went out with his second foul. Now Brooks back into the game, but they're going to see if they can close this deficit down just a little bit more. As they get possession here, and going left to right in the third quarter. It's Riverside out front with it. Hess hands it off to DeMello. Now over to Mason. Mason kicks it out. Elsie 3 on the way. Could have been big, but short with it. Rebounded by Brooks. Now they get it up ahead. Now Elsie with the steal. Drives in hard right side, and there's foul number 3 on Brooks. Brooks thought he'd given way that time, but got enough body contact on him to draw the foul, and that's a huge call. That's number 3 on him, and now Coach Matt Green going to have to make a decision here on what to do. Again, Brooks led Capital with 12 points in the first half. It wasn't just big point-wise, but on the defensive end as well. But Elsie misses on the first attempt as trying to close this down now to an 8-point deficit. And he misses on both. 2 big misses there for Riverside. Brooks stays in the game for now, and coming up the floor, almost picking up a charge there at midcourt. Now they get it inside. Poor trapped underneath, able to fight his way out. Gets it to Wicker. Wicker drives in on the left side. Good drive, but can't finish. Now Brooks gets the offensive rebound. Out to Struck. He'll dribble in. Tries to dish it off to Brooks and stolen away. Now to Elsie, and Elsie loses it out of bounds. So again, a wacky sequence on both ends. But it'll end with Capital maintaining possession. So James back into the game now for Capital, and Coach Green will send Brooks over to the bench with those 3 fouls, and came close there to a 4th. So want to try and protect him as long as possible as they go inside, and there's a reach-in foul. It looks like it will be against Mason. He and Elsie were both in the area, and it will be against Mason. That'll be number 2 on him. We are a minute deep into the second quarter, and no one scoring yet here to start the second half. They inbound it to Wicker. Wicker in the right corner, gets back out front. Elsie guarding him. Poor kind of camped out over in the right corner. They get it over to Struck. Now they go down low for James. Good ball movement over to Wicker. Capital kind of probing the defense here as Poor tries to collapse it, kicks it out. Now over to Struck. Over to Poor. Can't find an opening yet. Now out to Hill. Hill now will take it in himself. His pass deflected away, though, and stolen by Elsie. Looks up ahead for DeMello. DeMello takes it in the right side, and what a finish. by Quentin DeMello. He's got 5 points now, and the lead down to 7. So they've cut this 15-point lead a little over half. Ever since the final moments of the second quarter. Turnaround jumper, and James finally puts an end to the run with his 6th point. 37-28. They get it into Elsie. He'll bring it across midcourt underneath to DeMello. Good find under to Hess on the left block. He'll go up, and Hess able to finish for his first bucket of the game. The 6'2 senior gets himself into the scorebook. Back down to 7. Now up top, Wicker. Swings it over to Hill. Hill will take it in right side, gives it to James out front. 3 on the way, no good off the back iron that time for Struck. Rebounded though by Poor. Ball fakes, goes up, and he'll bank it in for his 6th point of the afternoon. So now after a couple of minutes and no scoring on either end, now starting to get in the flow of things in the second half as Capital now with a steal. Struck gets it out to Wicker. Wicker drives in strong, goes up with the left hand, and he's able to finish on the left side, 41-30. Wicker now with 7 points in the contest. They get it in the backcourt. Mason will bring it up the right side. Bounce pass over to DeMello. Gets an open look for 3. No good. Rebounded by Poor, and there's a reach in after the miss by DeMello, and there's the old frustration foul after a miss. As DeMello had a good look at it and then came in and swiped the hand, trying to get it back from Mason, and it'll just be his first foul instead, team foul number 2. Wicker will bring it across midcourt. Capital back to a double-digit lead after it had shrunk to 7 just a moment ago. Nice spin move by Wicker on Elsie. Gets over on the left side. Now trapped. Gets it out to James. He'll take a right elbow jumper. No good. Wicker, though, on the rebound. Shot blocked underneath by Mason. Wicker gets it back again. Kicks it out to Poor. Open 3 right side. And Poor gives Capital a 14-point lead. And he's got 9 points and a full timeout called by Coach Taylor Woods. We'll take it as well. Back after this break as you are watching the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic with us right here live on Video Productions.
Seriously injured. Now it's time to pick a lawyer.
You pick one with big verdicts and settlements?
We've successfully handled many million-dollar cases.
How about the recommendation of a friend?
We probably help somebody in your neighborhood.
How about a firm with lots of resources?
You can have it all.
We're Farmer Klein & Campbell.
Well-known and very effective.
When you call us about your injury, you'll know you've made the right decision.
Farmer Klein & Campbell is the way to go. Call 346-5990.
FCA has incredible impact on coaches, the teams, the players, and the community as well.
It's changed our lives. It's changed mine as a husband, as a father, and as a coach.
It does make an impact on our lives.
FCA has become a full circle in our lives.
People from all different kinds of backgrounds.
If all we're going to be is a coach that happens to be a Christian, I think it's more important to be a Christian that happens to be a coach.
44-30 Capital leading it with 4:21 to go here in the third quarter. Chris Kidd with you. Alongside me, Butch Mounts, our engineer. We're in game 1 of a big slate of basketball today here from George Washington High School and then from Chapmanville Regional High School. So make sure you're with us all day today as we're going from morning, noon till night this Saturday, right in the holiday season. So if you got your shopping done, you want to kick back and relax, again, we're going to be here with you all day long for a lot of fun basketball action. As DeMello with it on the right side. They go inside, pass stolen away. Chance here for Capital to take their largest lead of the game. Poor all the way to the rack, and what a drive by Elijah Poor. He's got 7 points this quarter and 11 for the game. And the lead is now up to 16 after it was down to 7 just moments ago. And there's an errant pass that goes to nobody and out of bounds. And now Riverside starting to come a little unglued here at the midway point of the third quarter. As we said, neither of these teams have won yet this year. Capital at 0-3, Riverside at 0-2. And Riverside taking it on the chin in both games, lost to St. Albans by 32 and then to GW by 36. However, those two teams that are undefeated, so it's not as if Riverside's been losing to nobodies these first couple of games. They've been losing to a lot of legit teams. And there's a drive inside, and they're Struck able to get the offensive rebound, and he puts it back in. He's got 4 points, lead up to 18. They get it back court for Mason as we close in on 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Mason passes by Struck, tried to strip him from behind, now gets it to Elsie. Elsie yet to score here in the second half after he had 13 in the first half. He'll bring it over right side, and a 5-second call. So this Capital pressure defense has really ramped it up here in the second half. Only 4 points here in the third quarter thus far for the Warriors. Coach Woods on the sideline trying to instruct Arthur and some of his other players on what needs to be done during this pressure defense. The Capital sprung on them. Now Wicker finds himself wide open for three, and the hot shooting continues here for the Cougars in the third quarter as they have exploded to take a 51-30 lead. They have outscored Riverside 16-4 here in the third quarter. Into the right side, three on the way, off the mark for Hess. Reverse layup, and what a shot by Isaiah Osborne. That's his first basket of the game, and what a way to get it. He's driving in hard on the right side is Welch, who's checked in, the 6-foot sophomore, and he'll draw the foul. And that'll send him to the free throw line as we get a block. And that'll go against Alec Hess. That'll be number 2 against him. Keon Welch, free throw up and gets it to rattle home for his first bucket of the game. Now substitution here for Riverside. And also for Capital, Isaiah Ford into the game. Giovini into the game for Riverside. Welch's second free throw rolls off as Mason snags the rebound. 52-32. Underneath, open was Osborne, but Elsie didn't see him as he'll reset the offense here. Under 2 minutes to go in the third. He'll hand it off to DeMello, now to Mason. Mason works his way in on the right side, tries to bank it in, but too strong. Rebound fought for. Hill lost it, but goes out to James, and now 3-on-2 here, and James traveled with it as he saw Struck. I think he didn't see Struck until the last second. And then whenever he saw him, he tried to kick it out, but by that point he kind of hesitated and ended up traveling. So Capital will continue their full court pressure. Mason gets it in to Elsie. Elsie brings it up into the center, almost lost it, now does as Struck got his hands on it, but there's a nice defensive play from behind by Osborne to get it back. Now to DeMello, he'll pull up from free throw line, rolls around and falls out. Osborne offensive rebound, can't connect, gets it again, can't connect, but he's fouled this time, and that'll put him at the free throw line. Good persistence that time by Isaiah Osborne, the senior. That foul goes against Welch, that'll be his first. As free throw up and good for Osborne. He's got 3 points now, all of those this quarter. Second free throw up, swishing it home is Osborne again. 52-34 in favor of Capital with 1:20 to go here in the third quarter. Wicker gets it to Hill. He'll drive in, and Hill able to finish at the rim. He's got 6 points now. So Hill, as we said, had 16 points, 10 points, and 20 points in his 3 games this year. Only with 6 today, but the supporting cast for Capitals really stepped up here this afternoon. Under 1 minute to go in the third quarter. And we get a whistle out front and a foul on the floor. This will be a hold against Capital. And that'll go against Hill. That'll be number 1 on him. Mason will inbound from the near side. Gets it into the backcourt for Elsie. 20-point lead for Capital. So it was a 9-point game at halftime. And Capital's blown things open here in the third quarter to take a 20-point lead. Elsie dribbles over to the right side. Final 40 seconds of the third quarter. Elsie steps back, James got a hand in his face. He gives it off to Osborne. Osborne drives in hard, can't finish as Wicker tried to take the charge. Nothing called. Now here comes Welch up the center of the floor. Gets it over left side, back out front. It's Wicker now with 23 seconds left. Going to hold possibly for one here. Capital unable to do so in the second quarter, but going to attempt so here with 15 seconds left. Riverside will get the ball to start the fourth quarter. Down to 10 seconds. Now here's Wicker dribbling in, gets to the left block. He's covered, gets it back out after the tip. Down to 3 seconds. Hill takes a deep three off the back iron, no good. And that will do it for the third quarter of play as Capital dominates, outscoring Riverside by 11 and taking a 54-34 lead into the final 8 minutes. We'll be back after this as you are watching the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic right here live on Video Productions.
Been in an accident, don't assume the insurance company will take care of you. Don't assume the medical bills will be paid. Don't assume anything. There's too much at stake. Accidents happen in an instant, but the injuries may last a lifetime. So hire the law firm with a history of results. Call us today. Warner Law Offices, when you need justice.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
Did you know when you send or receive a text message, you take your eyes off the road for 5 seconds? At 55 miles per hour, that's like driving more than the length of a football field blindfolded. As a result, thousands of people die every year in crashes related to distracted driving. That's why we're cracking down on people who text or use their smartphones while driving. We would rather you cross the goal line alive. Law enforcement officers write tickets to save lives. Don't text and drive.
Final 8 minutes here as we start quarter number 4. Chris Kidd here with you with Butch Mounts, our engineer, as Riverside trailing it by 20. We get a tie up as Giovini ends up getting tied up along the near side, and if it is tie up, it'll go over to Capital, and there they do make the motion. We have 7:51 to play. Brooks back in now after picking up that third foul early in the third quarter. A great job by the Cougars with him on the bench. Again, Riverside made a mini run when he went to the bench in the second quarter as Hill fouled on the way to the basket. But when Brooks went out early in the third quarter, you thought that might be an opportunity for Riverside, but Capital able to extend the lead. Now Brooks back in here after that big first half. And Hill will go to the line here to shoot a pair. 3 team fouls, or actually 4 team fouls now against Riverside, 3 against Capital as Hill connects on the first. He's got 7 points. Hill's second free throw up and good as well. So he's got 8 points now on the afternoon, 56-34. Capital continues pressure in the backcourt as Arthur will bring it across the timeline. Welch hounding him, but Arthur gets it across midcourt. Dribbles to the right side, cut off by Brooks. Pass intercepted. Wicker now one-on-one to the basket. Drives in left side, trying to draw the charge, but not a chance that time as Wicker able to finish on the left side as Ford tried to slide in late but couldn't get the call. Elsie back the other way. No good. He's still shut out here in the second half. Osborne, nice putback on the right side as Isaiah Osborne now with 6 points. 58-34, cross-court pass out in front and gets away from the Cougars and out of bounds. But no, they're going to say it was deflected instead by the Warriors, so it'll stay with Capital with 7:03 to go here in the ball game. Again, stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll have GW against Ashland, Kentucky coming your way. And again, they'll have a small ceremony at the end of this game for some of the Hall of Fame coaches as Brooks with a Hall of Fame dunk that time as he comes thundering into the paint and throws it down for his 14th point, his first bucket of the second half. 60-36 in favor of Capital as Elsie drives in, can't finish. Brooks with the rebound. But as I was saying, they'll have a small ceremony for some of the coaches that have been so instrumental in the state over the last couple decades. We see Mick Price here right in front of us right now. Mark Hatcher also going to be honored. So we'll have several of the Hall of Fame names that you know that have won state championships being honored here as well, right at the end of this contest. Now we get some substitutions as Riverside brings back in some of their starters. Also coming in for the first time is Drake Bryan, a 6'2 senior. They inbound it. Wicker pump fakes, now dribbles into the paint. Goes back door, nice look. Hill kicks it out. Brooks open three from the left corner. No good this time, rebounded by DeMello. DeMello takes it over right side. Double team, now looks over cross court for Osborne. Nice dish off underneath, driving in, and layup no good. As ball last touched, and they say off of Riverside. And it looked like Bryant was surprised he was that open and maybe saw Brooks coming toward him and tried to get that shot off as quick as he could. And just looked like it kind of slipped out of his hands a little bit trying to get it up as well. But now Capital with the ball, 60-36 with 6 minutes remaining. Out front, Kenny. Going to call him for a travel. Kenny tried to get himself under control but couldn't, and that'll give it back over to the Warriors here with 5:56 remaining in the game. So Mason will inbound it in front of the Capital bench as Capital on their way to their first win of the season. Riverside, as we said, struggled a lot last year, going just 2-20, 3 straight losing seasons, only 2 winning seasons since 2006 for the Warriors, and right now they look like they're on their way to an 0-3 start to begin this 2019-2020 campaign. As jumper no good by Bryant, but gets it back, kicks it out to Arthur. He'll go for 3, no good, and rebounded underneath by Wicker as trying to tie him up, but unsuccessfully, and now Wicker breaks out. Dribbles into the center, takes it left side, goes up with the left hand, and Wicker able to finish on a strong drive. He's had a very nice second half as he's got 9 points in the second half and 14 for the game. 62-36 now in favor of Capital. Elsie on the right side, closing in on 5 minutes to play. Elsie still looking for his first bucket of the second half, and it won't come here as he misses, and there's Brooks with another rebound. So he looks up ahead to Hill, hits him in the back of the head, and taken back by Elsie. Elsie dribbles in on the right side, takes it in, can't convert. Again, he's gone ice cold here in the second half after he was very strong in the first half for the Warriors. Now Brooks going coast to coast again, and he's fouled hard on the way in and throws up the shot, draws the 2-shot foul as Mason cut him off. But here comes the dunk that Mason was trying to avoid here, but Brooks was able to convert earlier. As you see him here getting a full head of steam, gets into the paint, just nothing they could do after that, as Brooks, not the man you want to try and get in front of and cut off, as he throws down a thunderous one-hander to put an exclamation point on what will be win number 1 of the year for Matt Green's club, as Wicker will now check out. You'll probably start to see some of the substitutions taking place here momentarily on both sides, as Brooks looking for his 15th point, and he gets it with the second free throw. So Brooks now 4 of 6 from the free throw line this afternoon, 63-36. In favor of Capital. Pass to Mason, poked away by Hill. Now Mason will try and work his way in. Hill with a quick hands, able to knock it away. Now here comes Hill up the center of the floor. And again, Hill has been more of a facilitator today than anything. He finds Brooks, 3 on the way, off the back iron, rebounded by Elsie. 4:15 remaining in the game as Elsie, left side, goes up, too strong, and there's Brooks with another rebound. He's definitely has a double-double or in double-double territory for the game right now, as Poor blocked on the way in as DeMello got a piece of it. Up head to Elsie, this time breaks under, and there's the first basket of the second half for Javante Elsie. He's now got 15 for the game. 63-38 in favor of Capital. Hill to Kenny, now out to Welch. He'll go for 3, and there's Welch from downtown. He's got 4 points. And now a full timeout called by Riverside with 3:41 remaining, and Capital cruising to their first victory of the year, leading at 66-38. Back after this as you're watching the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic right here live on Video Productions.
The Par-Mar Oil Company in 1967 has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Par-Mar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Par-Mar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Par-Mar store near you now, you will soon. Par-Mar Convenience Stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
(66-38) in favor of Capital. Final 3:41 of this first game of two here today from the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic. Again, coming up next, we'll have George Washington taking on Ashland, Kentucky. And a big clash between two undefeated teams, so don't go anywhere. You're going to enjoy the contest we've got coming your way next here on Video Productions. Then we'll be back down to Chapmanville, West Virginia. Again, the tournament in Chapmanville, the Phenom Hoops Classic taking place there as Kenny with a steal. He'll go coast to coast, and Kenny will lay it in on the left side. His first basket of the game as the lead now swells to 30. But again, the first game in Chapmanville will start at 2:30 today. We'll be there streaming the games as Elsie drives in and gets himself another lay-in. He's got 17 for the game. But I'll be back down there following the conclusion of the second game, and myself and Nathan Bush will have Man and Nitro at first. Then I'll be there with you for Greater Beckley Christian in Winton Woods, Ohio. And then the final game, Chapmanville going up against Miller, Virginia. There's a steal here by Riverside. Nice drive and take that time by Josh Arthur. Able to bank it in from the center for his fourth point, 68-42. Capital leads it, 2:40 remaining. As Kenny has it out front. Gets it over right side. Capital working the clock here, and now down on the floor looking for help. Pass underneath, and again on the ground we get a tie-up, and possession arrow will go over to Riverside with 2:27 to go. There's a couple more substitutions here for Riverside. Spencer Harvey, the 5'11 junior, getting his first action of the afternoon as Mason played a tough game today. Again, he was very strong on the inside, had a couple big buckets going up against a lot of these bigs from Capital, and he'll exit likely for the rest of the game.
Coaches that are going to be recognized after this contest, about the 1 minute mark, to please gather at the...
And it looks like a little confusion at the scorer's table, just trying to work that out as to maybe a substitution that had come in that time. Seems like we've got everything cleared up as now errant pass stolen away by Capital. Chance here for the Cougars to get to 70 on the afternoon. Triple teamed on the left block. We'll get a whistle and a traveling call against Capital. And that'll give it back over to the Warriors, 2:18 remaining. As Hess will check back into the game for Riverside. Looks like Giovanni was shaken up on that play a moment ago. And he'll go to the bench here. Hess will inbound it. Gets it into Elsie as Capital continuing to pressure here. 2:15 to go. Elsie brings it up the left side. Gets into the paint. Tough right-handed layup. Counted and the foul for Javante Elsie. Again, nice take for him. And after he'd been quiet for most of the second half on the offensive end, he's got 6 points here in the fourth quarter. Chance to get to 20 points now for the game, as you see it here in our replay. Again, he got that burst and that first step, and if you give that first step to someone like Elsie, he's going to make you pay most of the time as he's short on the free throw attempt. The long rebound comes out. Capital controls it. 68-44, 2 minutes to go as Kenny gets all the way in, and he gets the friendly roll for his fourth point of the game. 70-44 now. Capital leads it. It's Elsie across the timeline, fakes the pass, gets it over. Short jumper on the way. No good that time. It's a good look for Harvey. Rebounded underneath by the Cougars. Kenny will bring it across the timeline. Gets into the center, tries a backdoor pass, gives it off. Shot no good. Hess had it knocked away, and elbow given that time, or maybe just caught in the nose underneath. Bland, though, appears to be okay. So they ask if he wants to come out, but he says, no, I'm fine. So now Capital will drop out of their pressure here with 1:35 to go. And you love it whenever you get a couple of the substitutions that get ready to come in and some of the cheers from the bench go up. You know those are some fan favorites. As Harvey goes underneath. Good look and a nice finish on the reverse by Tyler Purdue. As he gets his first bucket, the 5'11 sophomore. Now just a quick whistle to get a couple more substitutions in. It's one of those timeout, no timeout situations, just in order to make sure you speed things up and move things along a little bit. So a minute 20 to go. It's Bland. Takes it over right side. 1:10 to go. Ball fakes. And you can tell the bench, they want it so bad for Bland and some of the others into the game right now. And we get a whistle and a foul out front. And it's going to be a moving screen against Capital with a minute 5 to go. And this was my specialty, Butch, whenever I get into the game. You know, there was no passing, there was no set offense. It went up. If I was getting in, I was going to get mine as much as I could. And the coaches used to get on to me about it, and I was like, it's not like I'm going to be starting in the state finals anytime soon, Coach, so I'm going to try and get what I can get. And there's a nice putback by Hess as he gets over on the left side. He's got 4 points, 70-48. Bland over right side. Being double teamed, tries to take it in, falls down, looking for help, and they're going to get a travel on him with 36.7 seconds to go. And again, if you're a bench player, you learn the art of the chuck whenever you get the chance to get into one of these games. Riverside will bring it up, perhaps final opportunity for them on the afternoon, trailing 70-48, under 30 seconds to play. They'll get it over to Purdue. Purdue drives in and blocked on the way in, rebounded by Riverside, put back no good. Ball still loose, taken away by the Cougars, 17 seconds left. They'll get maybe one last opportunity here, bring it up the right side, all the way in, layup, no good, rolls off, rebound put back, blocked. Turnaround jumper, no good. 5 seconds left. Layup, count it. That's three-pointer blocked at the horn, and that will do it as the Capital Cougars come in here this afternoon, and they pick up their first win of the victory and keep Riverside winless as they knock them off 72-48. We'll step aside for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll recap this afternoon's action here from game number 1 of the Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic as you're watching with us live on Video Productions.
Seriously injured. Now it's time to pick a lawyer.
Do you pick one with big verdicts and settlements?
We've successfully handled many million-dollar cases.
How about the recommendation of a friend?
We probably help somebody in your neighborhood.
How about a firm with lots of resources?
You can have it all.
We're Farmer Klein and Campbell.
Well-known and very effective.
When you call us about your injury, you'll know you've made the right decision.
Farmer Klein and Campbell is the way to go. Call 346-5990.
FCA has incredible impact on coaches, the teams, the players, and the community as well.
It's changed our lives. It's changed mine as a husband, as a father, and as a coach.
It does make an impact on our lives.
FCA has become a full circle in our lives.
People from all different kinds of backgrounds.
If all we're going to be is a coach that happens to be a Christian, I think it's more important to be a Christian that happens to be a coach.
72-48, Capital knocks off Riverside here this afternoon. Chris Kidd and Butch Mounts with you. Let's run through the final scoring on both sides, starting with Riverside. Leading all scores today was Javante Elzy with 19 points. Then you had Mason with 6 points, Osborne with 6 points, DeMello with 5, Arthur, Hess, each with 4 points. Giovanni and Purdue with 2 points each to round out the scoring for Riverside. Then on the other end for Capital, leading them in scoring was DeMarquise Brooks with 15 points, followed by Wicker with 14. Then you had Poor with 9 points. Then after that, Carrington Hill with 8 points, followed by James with 6 points, and then a slew of players with 4. You had Kinney with 4, along with Welch with 4, and Struck finishing with 4 to round out the scoring for Capital. Well, let's take a look here at our Farmer Klein and Campbell player of the game. And you know what? A lot of balanced scoring, a lot of great plays here today by the Capital Cougars, but we're going to give it to DeMarquise Brooks. Again, I'll have a small ceremony at the end of this game for some of the Hall of Fame coaches as Brooks with a Hall of Fame dunk that time as he comes. As the young man was in foul trouble some parts of the day, or else the damage could have been even worse on the offensive end for him, as he was able to go inside, get some key putbacks, key dunk, a three-pointer. He did it all today for the Capital Cougars. Well, again, we're now going to step aside, but we're going to stay here with you and listen in to the coaches being honored here this afternoon in this Par-Mar Tip-Off Classic. People like Ron Hess, Mark Hatcher, Mick Price, some of the Hall of Fame coaches in the state of West Virginia. So stay here with us. We'll have GW and Ashland, Kentucky coming up once they finish warming up and following the ceremony down on the floor. But we're going to listen into this right now so that you can kind of enjoy the ceremony with some of these great coaches.
Didn't know those things were on there to help me.
Tip-Off Classic, and we recognize legends of the coaching profession around West Virginia. So many times the legendary is associated with wins and titles. That is obviously the sports world a factor of determining greatness. The legendary status isn't defined by the wins and trophies. It's more the positive influence that you've had in shaping young men that played for you. You've changed so many players' lives in ways that have impacted them for so many years. I've experienced this firsthand through playing for Coach Aldridge, and in that experience, we were able to influence our teammates and even ourselves and challenge ourselves throughout life. When we get together, the games are replayed, and when wins are enjoyed again, the interesting thing is the discussion always got to when we were pushed mentally and physically beyond what we thought we were possible. We are better people in every area of our lives for having played for such legendary coaches. We offer our respect and admiration on this day, but most of all, we offer our most sincere thank you for the privilege of calling you guys Coach. At this time, I'd like to recognize representatives here from Parmar Convenience Stores who made this invitational Tip-Off Classic possible, Mr. Brian Walls. He'll step over here to center court. Also, I'd like to recognize Mr. Bill Cunningham. Bill's been recognized already before as part of the fraternity of coaches in the Legends Tip-Off Classic, so he'll be here to welcome these guys into this fraternity of coaches. We'll start with Mr. Ron Hess. Years coach, 33 years. Made 305 wins, 164 losses. 3 state titles, 2014, 15, and 17 state championships. He coached at Cox Landing Junior High, Craig County High School in Virginia, St. Joseph Catholic High School in Huntington, and Huntington High School itself. He's a 2-time MSAC Coach of the Year, 2016 North-South All-Star Classic Coach, State Basketball Coach of the Year, 16, 17, and 3 times Tri-State Coach of the Year, Mr. Ron Hess. Next up, Mr. Bob Neely. Bob coached right here at George Washington High School. He started at John Adams Junior High before he coming up here to GW. Won state titles in 1978, 1979, and 1980, the Girls State Championship in AAA. Appearances in every girls' state tournament from 1976 to 1982, and again from 96 to 99. So there's some great runs. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Neely. Next up, Mr. Coach Mick Price. Years coach, 45 years. With 671 wins, 313 losses. Titles in 2006, 2009, state titles. State runners-up in 2008, 2017, and 2018. 2009 West Virginia Coach of the Year, 5-time Regional Coach of the Year, 8-time LKC Boys Basketball Coach of the Year, at both Sisterville High School and Ravenswood High School, West Virginia, Coach Mick Price. Next up, Mr. Coach Mark Hatcher. Coach Hatcher, 236 wins and 138 losses. Coach, 2005 AA State Championship, 2010 AAA State Championship, and 2007 State Runner-Up. 8 state tournament appearances and 3 Cardinal Conference championships. He's in the West Virginia Sports Hall of Fame and first father-son state champions. I assume this looks your father was 1983, right? So. Great 24 years coach at Logan High School. Coach Mark Hatcher. Next up, Coach Charles Cool. Years coach 15. Started at Dunbar Junior High School, went to Dunbar High, 216 wins against 81 losses. State runner-up in 1981 with 5 Lower Kanawha Valley Junior High championships. 1970 Kanawha County Coach of the Year and a Ray Thom Award in 1995. Mr. Coach Charles Cole. And now a special presentation in memorial for the late Coach Jerry Bradley. And Coach who received his award is his wife Mary and daughter Elizabeth. Also joining in today is twin brother Terry. Jerry Bradley is special coach and coached several years with Coach Big Price here as he comes over. Coach Bradley started at Ravenswood High School with Coach Price, and then moved on to Greenbrier East High School and won 251 games there, 12 sectional titles and 1 regional title. Winning as coach in Greenbrier East history, Mr. Coach Jerry Bradley.
On behalf of the family, we'd like to thank all of you for this honor and appreciation. Jerry started coaching with me at Ravenswood High School in 1980. He got his dream job at Greenbrier East High School in 1988. He was the head basketball coach there for 23 years. Did an outstanding job, but he's not going to be known just for being a basketball coach. The number of people's lives that he was in contact with on a daily basis, that he changed to be better people, is what he will be most known for. He did an outstanding job, and it's an honor for me to stand here with Elizabeth and to have his wife Mary and his twin brother Terry here today, and for him to get this, and especially important to me because I will be inducted into the same class as Jerry was, and that's an honor for us. It's like family. Thank you.
This time we'd also like to hand the mic over to Brian Wall of Park Convenience Stores. Just say something real quick.
We appreciate everybody that came out. Hope it's been a successful couple of days. And of course, let's go Patriots.
At this time, it's the honoree to step out to center court here for some photo ops.